Hi everyone, it's Adam here from Ads Productions, and excuse the noise of birds in the background. It's a hot sunny day here in New Zealand and you can't really silence the birds outside, they're just too loud, so I'm going to persevere and get this review done. So this is the review of the QNAP TS-451D2 NAS drive. This is essentially the direct competitor with Synology's DS-420 Plus. On this one you've got more RAM, additional HDMI out and more USB ports. So, what exactly do you get in the box? Well, in the box you've got some Ethernet cables, a quick installation guide, some warranty information, a main power connector, some screws for fitting the hard drives or solid state drives. Although, based on its toolless design, these aren't strictly needed. You have the large power brick, and apart from that, it's just the packaging material. It seems a bit weird that they didn't actually include an HDMI cable in this box, considering that it's advertised as being able to play back 4K video over HDMI 2. Why not just add a cheap HDMI cable in just to get people going, rather than them having to go out their way and buying another component to an already fairly substantial purchase? That's my only real issue with what comes with this device. This is a 4-bay NAS that features the following hardware specifications. You've got a quad-core Intel Celeron 2 GHz processor that can burst up to 2.42 GHz. In terms of graphics, we've got the Intel HD Graphics 600, and it comes with 4 GB of DDR4 RAM that's expandable to 8 GB. There are also 2 keys that are included. These are to lock each of the drive bays. But just remember, no key is going to stop someone stealing the physical NAS drive itself. It's just a bit more protection against people accidentally popping out a drive bay, for example, and just people tampering with the drive itself. As for the design, most NAS drives look very similar. They're roughly the same size, they've got roughly the same displays and LEDs and USB port areas and things like that. Nothing too revolutionary here with this QNAP one. However, I'm going to go through the design of it anyway so you know where things are should you need them. So, first up we've got the status or status lights. These are down the left hand side and they cover everything from power, LAN connectivity and activity, USB copying, and the individual status lights for the hard drives and the solid state drives. So you can quickly glance over at the LEDs and say, okay, nothing's wrong with any of my drives and everything is connected as it should be. It's just designed as a quick reference. It's not obviously going to be the be all and end all truth as to how your device is performing and if there are any issues, but if you look over and you see an error light, then you can jump in and diagnose the problem straight away. The dimensions are 16.5 centimeters by 16 centimeters by 21.9 centimeters, meaning that on paper and in practice, this is actually a very compact device considering that it's a 4-bay NAS drive. It is a predominantly plastic external body that does feature some metal insides for where you're placing the hard drives and sliding them into the drive bays. There is a USB 3 port on the front which can be used to increase the capacity, or in conjunction with the quick copy button just above it to quickly back up to selected storage media with the customized settings with a click of a button. And just above that you have the plain old power button. On the back there is a big 120mm fan that keeps the drive and its components very cool, and its speed can be manually or automatically set, so you don't even have to worry about this. The ports on the back are a power connection, 3 USB 3 ports, 2 gigabit Ethernet ports, and a HDMI 2 port that facilitates the 4K video playback. As you can see on the screen, you can make use of QNAP's Qsync software. What this will do is it will allow you to set up a synced folder between the NAS drive and your local PC or mobile device. Essentially meaning that if you move things into that folder, either on your PC, on your NAS drive, on your mobile device, any changes will replicate across to the other devices. So you can work on and modify and move files and folders around this directory, and it's always going to be consistent across multiple devices. I found the software very straightforward to use. I didn't really have any problems with it, to be honest. There were a few times where I had to manually kick off the sync during my testing, but that comes from an impatience point of view rather than it not working, because if I would have just waited a minute or so, it would have caught up and did a full sync of everything that I moved. But when I was testing it, there were a few times where I thought, I just want to quickly override this and press the manual sync button. Other than that, you're going to be finding it very similar to things like Dropbox and Google Drive, where you have a shared sync folder, except this time you're syncing things on your NAS drive. It's a pretty cool addition, and it's good to see that these NAS drive companies are taking this on as a standard feature to have on a device. Download the desktop client, log onto your NAS drive and select the shared folder that you like to sync. Now select the location on your PC that you want to continuously sync, and that's all there is to it. Easy. The Qsync mobile client is a good addition as well, although it is a very scaled down version, so just expect to be able to do the basics such as delete and add and rename and things, rather than the more granular modification like configuration and how things operate. You can't really expect much from the mobile device in comparison, and it does exactly what it says on the tin. It's a very lightweight piece of software, no complaints from me. If you're getting a NAS drive, there's a good chance that you're going to be using this for some sort of video or audio streaming, like Plex for example. When you use this NAS drive with Plex and you store all your movies and your images and your audio in that one central place, and you use Plex to go through your library and present it in a nice way, it's going to be able to handle it absolutely fine. This device is way overspec'd for Plex. You're not going to have to worry about lag, you're not going to have to worry about any buffering that happens, providing that your connection's okay. This will be able to play 4K videos through Plex, straight out of the HDMI port, into your TV or monitor. Do not even have that as a concern, it will be able to handle that very, very well. Also, if you have a bunch of pictures that you want to organize in one place on your NAS drive, there is a piece of software called QMAGI. I might not be saying that right, it's QUMAGIE, and it's essentially a photo organizer. It will put it in a dashboard view, a list view based on date added, and it allows you to organize your photos in a way of what sort of picture is it. It has built-in intelligence to be able to look at your photos and determine, okay, is that a train station? Is that a dog? Is that a cat? Is that a landscape? And it will do its best to process and categorize your content based on what it thinks it sees. Have a play around with this. It's not going to be foolproof, but it's pretty cool to see the types of photos that you're dealing with. I found that browsing through this QMAGI software was very easy to use. You just scroll down, scroll up, and you can open your images in a slideshow mode. You can also just go next, next, and just view it like an ongoing timeline of all your pictures. There isn't actually much you can do wrong for photo software like this. It displays your images perfectly, regardless of what screen you're on. You can view it on your phone, you can view it on your desktop, you can view it on your TV. It's going to look great wherever you open up the pictures. I would consider this software essential if you're going to have photos on your NAS drive. It's QMAGI, QUMAGIE. For those of you that want to take backups a bit more seriously, you can use QNAP's HBS software. That stands for QNAP's Hybrid Backup Sync. What you can do with this piece of software is you can define what directories on your NAS drive that you would like to take a backup of. Once you've determined this, select them as a source, and then it enables you to connect to services like Amazon Web Services, Microsoft Azure, Google Drive. Google Drive is the one I'm going to use. So when you've got your source, your NAS drive's files, and then your destination, your Google Drive, you can then set a scheduled task to run and back up certain directories to certain places off-site, away from your home, away from your NAS drive, to make a secure and safe and easy to use, because it does it for you, backup. It has so much flexibility of where you can back up to. You don't actually have to just back up to a cloud-based service. You can back up to another NAS drive if you want, or external storage media. It's just a way to easily be able to determine I want my stuff to be backed up from this folder to this location. You're going to want to use QNAP's hybrid backup sync. It will work perfectly. I tested it a few times, and when I couldn't quite get the syncing right with Google, the error logs explained exactly what the problem was. It's a bit more technical, but I do strongly recommend you looking into the hybrid backup sync if you want to take backups that little bit more seriously. Having the previously mentioned backup solution in place, or at least the software to be able to do so, as well as the Q filing software we're going to talk about shortly, will allow you to abide by the 321 backup rule, which is generally accepted as the way you should be backing up. What is the 321 backup rule? Well, it goes like this. 3. Have at least 3 copies of your data. 2. Store the copies on 2 different media. 1. Keep it safe with 1 backup copy off-site. There's also the great search functionality within the QNAP device called Qsearch. What you can do here is once you've indexed your directory, you can open this app and specify exactly what sort of file that you're looking for. So you can say, I want a particular file with this extension that was created on this date, but it can't be larger than this certain file size. It's just a way to go through all of this data that you don't care about to find that one. It does constantly bug you to upgrade to a more premium or pro version that costs, I think it was $20 for every month, but there are certain offers available. Go ahead and look that up, but I found that the Qsearch Basic Free Edition worked perfectly and helped me find the files that I needed. Another scenario is, let's say you work on a bunch of files that you think, okay, after a year, I want these specific files to be moved to that location. Almost like an archive. Well, QNAP call it Q filing. That's the name of their app anyway. And it will enable you to do just this. You finish up on certain projects and you go, okay, I want to make sure my directories and my NAS drive is as tidy as it can be. In this example, what I did is I defined a specific criteria for files to be, and when they meet that criteria, i.e. a certain age of file, i.e. a certain type of file, it will then say, okay, I'm going to run this and I'm going to move these files to this folder. So it files it away and keeps things neat and tidy. Honestly, I didn't even think about this in terms of a NAS. It's a really cool addition though. It's something that's quite simple and not really that bespoke and revolutionary, but it just makes things a lot easier and keeps things clean and tidy. It's the little things that make a big difference. It's cheesy, but it's true. Finally, finishing up with some of the more additional prosumer applications that most of you probably won't take advantage of, but they're there if you want to. You can have various virtualization capabilities enabled using their container station. Go ahead and look up containers and what they are and how you would use them, but essentially they're resources that you can use in a very powerful way. But I'll let you do your own Googling on that one. You've also got the ability to add in your home video surveillance using the QVR Pro application. So you can link your cameras up to be able to record, and you can use various different clients with the QVR Pro application. Again, these aren't things I'm going to go into detail of in this video, but it's just good for you to know that they are available if you consider purchasing this device. Overall, I think it's best to think of this device as a high-end home model. What I mean by that is, yes, it's primarily designed to fit into a small home scenario. However, if you bought this into a small to medium business, I think with the features that it has and the connection that you can give it and its overall design and compactness, it could hold its own very easily in a demanding business environment. Obviously, don't go too crazy and put it into a massive company, but small to medium, I think it can hold its own. It's good to see a device that has a reasonable amount of RAM in it. 4 gig in the modern day is what you should expect from these types of devices. How many times have I said devices in this video? Probably a hell of a lot. Anyway, 4 gig of RAM, 2 gigahertz CPU. The size of it the way it looks, the 2 gigabit Ethernet ports on the back, the fan to keep it cool, the lockable trays, and for the price that it's available for, it's definitely worth considering. So please do have a Google of the TS-451D2. This is the 4 gig edition. Use it for your Plex server, use it for your media streaming, have an explore of the QNAP App Store. It's all there for the taking. Go ahead and give it a look. I've been Adam from Ads Productions, and this has been the review of the QNAP TS-451D2 4 gig NAS drive. Thanks for watching, and if you have any questions, leave it as a comment below.